guys, so today I wanted to do a video on my birth stories. This video will be basically telling you both birth stories for both of my sons, because Caleb's, who's my second child, was so quick and so like he just flew out. I might as well include his story in this story. I don't know what it is about birth stories, but whenever I find a new mummy vlogger and they have like a birth story video, I just tend to watch it. I love watching One Born Every Minute, and I don't know, I just love hearing about other people's experiences. It's such a big thing in your life. I'm gonna start off with my son Fraser. He's actually 4.5 now. I was due to give birth on the 1st of December. And when the doctor told me that I was gonna give birth on the 1st of December, I remember thinking, oh, I think he'll be born on the 7th of December, because the 7th of December is actually my dad's birthday, and he's dead. Sorry, I said that really like, really like he's dead. It's a long story, but when I was 17, he he took his own life. He committed suicide when I was 17, and yeah, I just knew when she said that he was due on the 1st of December, I remember thinking, I think he'll be born on my dad's birthday. And in a way, I thought that if he was born on my dad's birthday, it would almost make it like a happy day again. So obviously my due date passed, and on the 6th of December, I started to have pains in the night, and I kind of got up and got out of the room and into the living room because I didn't want to wake my husband, because I thought, if this is it, I really want him to have as much sleep as is possible, because he's going to need his energy as well. So I went into the living room and I kind of sat on my birthing ball. I did hypnobirthing, and I'll link a video down below about like my whole hypnobirthing experience, but I put my headphones on and I'm just doing that, just hanging out, you know, in the middle of the night. And then I managed to get a bit more sleep, and I remember thinking, oh, these contractions aren't bad at all. Like, what does everyone moan about? Little did I know that it was going to get a lot worse. And woke up at about 8 o'clock in the morning, got up, went into the bathroom to brush my teeth, and I had my bathrobe on. I was just brushing my teeth, and my waters just broke, like fully, you know, like in the movies. Like, it was a big gush on the bathroom floor. I didn't know at the time, but now I know that that's actually quite rare, that only happens to like 1 in 10 women, and most people, like, their waters break during labor or don't break at all, or have to be broken. So it was really like textbook. And then we called the hospital, and being our first baby, we really didn't know or think to like hang on and hang around the house, so we just went straight to the hospital. Got there and I had my hypno on the whole time. I got examined, and they were like, oh, you know, you're only 2 centimeters and you're able to breathe and talk through your contractions, so it can't be that bad. So they sent me home. They were like, have a bath, have some beans on toast, and I was like, are you crazy? Like, I'm actually in quite a bit of pain now. But anyway, we drove all the way home, and our hospital was actually 40 minutes away from our house. I mean, we drove all the way home, and by the time we got home, it was getting a bit more intense. I waited a bit longer, and then I was like, oh no, I think it is getting like a bit stronger. So we drove back to the hospital, and they examined me, and they were like, oh, you know, you're only 4 centimeters, and we won't keep you here until you're 5 centimeters. So we really suggest you go home. Like, I do strongly think that I was quite calm because of the hypnosis. So anyway, they looked at me and they thought, you know, you're not really struggling that much, you're not making much of a fuss, like, go home. Anyway, by the time we got home the second time, they were really strong contractions, and I was bleeding a lot. And as I got out of the car, I remember, oops, I just dropped my notebook. I remember not being able to walk to the flat, like really struggling. And so when we got into the flat, and I remember I sat on the toilet, and my mum took one look at all the blood everywhere, and she got quite worried, and she was like, right, we need to call an ambulance, we need to call the paramedics. So my husband called the paramedics, and a paramedic man came in a car, and he came into our flat. We had a little 1-bedroom flat at the time, and he said, I'm gonna have to examine you. So I had to lay on our bed and be examined by this like random dude. And I never forget, my husband said, always the joker, he said, I never thought I'd see you on our bed with your legs spread for another man before, or something like that. And it really did like, lighten the whole mood, because I was quite worried at that stage. And he was like, you know, you're 5 centimeters now, so you could go back to the hospital and stay, like they'll let you stay kind of thing. And he was quite worried about the level of blood. He called said ambulance to get me an ambulance, but the nearest ambulance was quite far away, and he said even if he blue lighted it, it might be quicker if we just drove to the hospital. Got back in the car again, and I was in so much pain at this point. You know, when every bump in the car was like, oh my god, and it was 40 minutes away. So we drove all the way back to the hospital, and they obviously let us stay, but at that point, because of the level of blood, they were like, you're high risk, and we want to put you on the high risk ward and monitor your baby. So we went on the high risk ward, and I remember I had all these like wires on me, which was really not part of my like hypnosis plan, but I still had my hypnosis on and I was being calm. I remember the midwife talking to me and trying to be like, you know, have you thought of any names for your baby? You know, blah, blah, blah. Is it boy? Is it girl? And I remember thinking, are you crazy? Like, I can't answer these questions. I'm in so much pain. So I had a bit of gas and air, and then after a little while, they were happy that I was actually low risk again. So they sent me to a low risk room. We were put in this room that had like loads of different like apparatus and mats and balls and like swings, and they must have thought that it was all going well and wasn't too serious, because they just left me with a student nurse, and I remember they only called in like a proper midwife when it was time to push. I spent a lot of time sitting on the toilet, TMI, because for me, the feeling of a contraction felt very similar to like the need to go to the toilet. I remember the midwife coming in and saying to me, right, at 1 o'clock, she pointed to the clock, she went, at 1 o'clock, we're gonna start pushing. And I looked at the clock and I thought, it's after midnight, so it is the 7th. It's the 7th of December, like it's my dad's birthday, so he's gonna be born like today. Pushing for an hour. And then I remember towards the end of the hour, the midwife said to me, baby's getting a bit distressed. If nothing happens in the next few contractions, we're gonna have to get the doctor in here. And that kind of made me, like, spurred me on and was like, no, like, I'm gonna get this baby out. And it kind of, I don't know if they just said it to help me or what, but it really helped me get him out. And then I remember on one contraction, they put my hand on his head so that I could feel his hair and everything. And it kind of made it all real and made me really have this, like, you know, I'm getting him out kind of thing. As I pushed him out, they sort of held him up. He did this big meconium poo everywhere. I always remember it landing on me. But it was really lucky that it was like literally as he came out, he did it. So he nearly did it in the womb, which would have been horrendous because then he would have needed his stomach pumped and he would have had it in his eyes and issues and all that kind of stuff. So it was just really fortunate that I just about managed to get him out. It was all really straightforward. All I had was like a graze, TMI, but I didn't have any tears. I just had like quite a graze, which was sore. He was born, he was perfect. He was 8'1", and yeah, it all went really well. I do think my hypnosis really did help me stay just really calm and relaxed. Yeah, one thing afterwards that I did really struggle with was because I gave birth to Fraser on my back. As he was born, my coccyx actually cracked, it broke, and I had an x-ray on it, and it was confirmed that it was broken from childbirth, but there was nothing they could do about it. And from the time he was born to the time Caleb was born, I really suffered with pain. But when it came to Caleb, I actually had him on all fours, and it didn't break again, and I think it actually corrected it. So then Caleb, he was due to be born on the 21st of October, and he was exactly 6 days late like his brother. He was born on the 27th of October, which I kind of thought in my mind that would happen, because I thought, well, Fraser was born on the 7th, so Caleb will be born 6 days late as well. And I don't know, if anyone believes in The Secret, I kind of think I did that with my mind. I want to sound like a hippie, but I went into labour with Caleb. Fraser was like 2 years old and 10 months. And I managed to, like, I was having some pains, but I managed to get Fraser bathed and to bed. And then after he was in bed and I was happy and safe knowing that he was asleep, I sat on my birthing ball and I was really getting like some contractions and some pains, but it didn't hurt too much. And again, I did my hypnosis. I had my wireless headphones on this time, and we called Matt's mum to come to the house because we were like, I think I'm in labor, you know, just come so you can look after Fraser. And the night that Caleb was born, it was Storm Jude. I don't know if anyone remembers that from about 18 months ago, but it was Storm Jude. So I called the hospital and they were like, you know, your first was pretty quick. He was 7 hours from start to finish. And it's Storm Jude tonight. So just come in as a precaution. We went to the hospital and we got there, and the midwife was really like she must not have thought that I was in that much pain. Again, I was hypnotized, and she was kind of like, oh, you know, get settled and I'll come and see you in 20 minutes. And my husband, I remember him warning her that our first was quite quick, I was under hypnosis, and this was our second, and blah, blah, blah. But she was like, oh, yeah. She came back 20 minutes later, and when she examined me, you could tell she started to panic, because I was 7 centimeters, and it was like 7 centimeters, and then it was like 8. And she started to panic, and you could kind of see her go around the room, get things ready, because I was ready to push. And in my second labor, I said to my husband, your one job is to make sure that I do not have him on my back, because the pain was so bad the first time. She examined me, and then she was sort of like, oh, just stay there for a minute, just stay there for a minute. But I had the urge to push, so Matt helped me up, and I actually ended up having him on all fours, and it was literally like 2 pushes, bam, like he was there. And he was born, he was £7.7, he was absolutely perfect. And yeah, I was surprised that he was £7.7, because everyone says that the second is heavier, but he was actually less. And I think it's because when I was pregnant with him, I was running around after Fraser so much, so I didn't really put on as much weight or have enough time to like relax and stuff. So yeah, so that is my birth stories. I have waffled on so long, I'm really sorry if that was too much information. So I am so lucky with my labours, and they were both really straightforward, no tearing, no... With Caleb and Fraser, I had a bit of gas and air with Fraser, and with Caleb I just, there wasn't even time for a paracetamol. Really think the hypnosis helps, so again I will link my video about that down below. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.